Hey guys, this is a follow-up video on the video I posted a few months ago called Are You Doing Too Much? Which was one of the most popular videos I've had so far on my YouTube channel. So we're going to delve a little bit deeper today into some of the causes of poor recovery and why it happens the way it does. So you'll probably have to go back and look at the first video if you haven't done so already. But the essential component of the first video was talking about how your body recovers from workouts and how we improve our strength and our fitness and our endurance and all those qualities over time. And it's a simple curve like this here called a super compensation curve, where you have a baseline level of fitness that creates fatigue with the workouts and then compensate to recover to bring you back up to a higher standard. And this is our our standard or optimal, should I say, recovery curve, where over time we follow the arrow and we're going up. We're improving our cardio, improving our strength, we're improving our fitness. This is, as I explained in the last video, is an example of a poor recovery curve where someone doesn't recover properly between workouts and just keeps coming back to the original point. I talked a lot about in the first video about doing too much, which is a common cause of getting stuck on a pattern like this here and not making progress with your workouts. We're going to talk a little bit more about the causes, the root causes of a poor recovery curve here today, because sometimes it's not always about doing too much in a workout or working out too often or too hard, which is one of the causes for sure. But we're going to talk about the other stuff that actually influences that and your ability to recover. So I wrote here root causes of suboptimal recovery. The number one, the obvious, right? Doing too much in the gym, doing workouts that are too intense, too grueling, where the intensity is too high, the volume is too much for what we can handle, and we find ourselves in a pattern like this. With workouts that are too intense or too much volume, what's going to happen is that curve is going to get down very, very low here. Okay, so that's going to just take a lot for that curve to come back up above our baseline level of fitness, if you will. So that would be caused by too much volume, too much frequency, working out too often, people who like to work out every single day, or even some guys who are really into bodybuilding and lifting weights to get bigger. You see that a lot of times. These guys will work out even more than once a day, which in this case, you don't necessarily have to deal with too intense of a workout, but you deal with not enough time in between each one. So just the end result is basically the same. So that's the obvious one, right? So now let's talk about other things that affect that recovery curve and why it might not go up like it should. Poor nutritional strategies. Nutrition obviously is very, very important in the recovery process of getting better. So what I like to explain to my clients and athletes is, from here to here is the time that you cause the damage, that you cause the fatigue, the workout itself. So let's say this is an hour per day. You have from this point to this point here to recover, which is the rest of the day, the 23 other hours of the day. So what happens in those 23 hours is going to be crucial to how much we're going to be able to come back up here and how effective our body is going to be at doing that. So we need proper nutrition. We need essential nutrients, and I wrote here PCVM is the simplified version of the things that we need. Protein, carbs, vitamins, and minerals are the building blocks for recovery. There's things that are a bit more complicated than that, but for the purpose of just simplifying things here, this is what we need. So we want to make sure that we have enough of those things. Enough protein. Are you eating enough protein to repair your muscles? Interestingly enough, I see a lot of high-level athletes who do not eat enough protein in order to recover optimally. Carbs, again, depending on how demanding your workouts and your sport is, you're going to need a certain amount of carbs, and some people might not eat enough, some people might eat too much, but a lot of times the cause of not improper recovery is going to be caused by not eating enough carbs for the demands of your physical activity. Vitamins and minerals are also very, very important, because they give not they don't give a calorie per se, or they don't give energy in terms of calories. But what vitamins and minerals do is it gives information to your body. It helps the muscles send signal to the brain, vice versa, balance your hormones, your hydration level, to make sure that everything's working optimally for the recovery process to happen. So even though this is not energy per se, you need a lot of vitamins and minerals, an adequate amount, in order to be able to recover properly. So that's mostly found in fruits and vegetables, and in meat as well. So you got to make sure that you eat enough of those things. Poor quality. If you eat out a lot, if you don't buy high quality food, in an ideal world, you would want to buy organic food because it has more vitamins and minerals, more bioavailable, less of the toxic stuff in it. But we can delve deeper in a different video about that stuff. Not enough also. Some athletes might just not eat enough to support their training. This is something that you see a lot in female athletes. Males, you don't tend to see that problem as much with male athletes, but it will happen every now and then that they just don't eat enough. So you want to make sure that the nutritional side of things is covered. The third one, which I put a little star next to, is overall stress, and something that people do not take into consideration enough when they train and then when they recover, is the overall stress that their body is under. And there's three components: mental, emotional, and physical stress. Your body is subject to feeling stress physically, mentally, and emotionally, and all that stuff is cumulative. Your body does not necessarily understand the difference between those things. It's just a build-up of all those things that will create the overall stress. So like a workout, for example, would be physical stress to the body. Like we talked about here, the actual workout is making us more fatigued, so our body's got to work to compensate for that, which is not necessarily a bad thing. There's also mental and emotional stress, which is also a normal part of everyday life. But when you're under too much stress of any of the three components of all three combined, then the stress levels becomes heavier and becomes more difficult to recover from workout. So again, like going back to the recovery curve, somebody who's really stressed because of job or relationships in their life might have just a really hard time having an optimal compensation curve here after a workout, and it might just come up more slowly like this, and it might be more difficult for that person to get back up above baseline to improve their physical performance. So I'll make a follow-up video again, like a third part, about how we can handle that and how we can make our results optimal when we have a lot of stress and other situations. But for now, let's just finish this part here. So again, just stressing again that the overall stress load is going to be one of the big factors for a lot of people, especially nowadays with stressful jobs and family life and stressful relationships around us. It can be challenging, right? So we got to make sure that we manage our training volume properly in order to make progress with our fitness goals and our performance goals. And the fourth one that I wrote is lack of sleep, which is also a big one in 2019 for a lot of people. We're talking about quality and quantity, not just the amount of sleep you get. So the traditional recommendation, which I'm sure a lot of you are aware of, is the 7 to 8 hours a night, which is what most humans need. But a little bit past the actual number, We want to look at the quality of sleep. What type of quality, what type of sleep do you get at night? Do you wake up multiple times? Do you feel like you can't get into a deep sleep? Does it take you a long time to fall asleep? Do you wake up super groggy in the morning? So those are all things that you want to consider on on the sleep side of things. And then again, like going back to here, the 1 hour workout versus a 23-hour recovery of the day. Of those 23 hours here, you know, we have 7 to 8 that are or should be direct sleep. And so that curve here is going to be affected once again by the quality and quantity of sleep that we're getting. And again, it could affect the effectiveness of that recovery curve. Here we could have suboptimal recovery curve that doesn't compensate as well as it should because we're not getting enough sleep or we're not getting good quality sleep. So hopefully this all makes sense. Like I said, I'm going to post a third follow-up video in a couple of days or a couple of weeks about some strategies, how to manage this whole situation, how can we make this more optimal, how can we optimize our recovery, but also what can we do if we're faced with some lack of sleep or just a lot of stress in our life. So how can we still manage that and still get the most out of our training? So hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys soon.